All right, so today let's take a deep dive into research skills.
Okay.
Like how to find information,
Mm-hmm.
make sense of data, come to like solid conclusions.
Right.
It's kind of a superpower these days,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
with all the information out there.
Yeah. It's essential.
So we're looking at this course description for an undergraduate research training program.
Okay.
Um, and it's pretty intense. Like think of it as like a cheat sheet for what real researchers actually learn.
Got it.
And get this, it even covers machine learning.
Oh, wow.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that is really interesting. What strikes me is how comprehensive this program seems to be.
Yeah.
It's not just about the technical stuff,
Right.
it's about the entire research process from start to finish.
I noticed that too.
Mm-hmm.
They actually start with a module on research ethics,
Okay.
which kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
Why do you think they put that first?
Well, it makes sense if you think about it. I mean,
Huh.
even the most groundbreaking research
All right.
is worthless if it wasn't done ethically.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really emphasizing responsible research practices.
Okay, so it's not just about getting the data. It's about getting it the right way.
Exactly.
Then they go into Kobo Toolbox for data collection.
Mm-hmm.
You ever use that?
I have, yeah.
Really?
Kobo Toolbox is a pretty powerful tool,
Okay.
and it's used by researchers and organizations globally.
So it's not just an academic thing?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And the fact that they're including it in this program shows their focus on practical skills.
So for someone who might not know what Kobo Toolbox is, can you like explain it?
Sure.
What makes it so helpful?
Imagine you're doing research in a remote area
Okay.
with like limited internet access.
Hmm.
Kobo Toolbox allows you to create surveys,
Uh-huh.
collect data offline, and then sync everything when you have internet again.
Oh, wow.
It's a game changer for field work.
That's super practical.
Yeah.
But collecting data is just one part of it.
Right.
They also talk about data analysis with R.
Yeah.
What makes R so important in research?
Well,
I have to admit, coding always seemed a bit intimidating to me.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But R is honestly more approachable than it seems.
Okay.
It's powerful because it's free,
Uh-huh.
incredibly versatile,
Mm-hmm.
and has this massive online community.
Okay.
People are constantly making new packages and sharing what they know.
So it's like a Swiss Army knife for data analysis.
Exactly.
You can do pretty much anything with it.
Pretty much, yeah.
And this program even goes beyond the basics,
Yes.
covering stuff like geospatial analysis.
Right.
Like imagine being able to map disease outbreaks.
Or track migration patterns.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what you can do with data and the right tools.
There really is.
Okay, so this program is definitely intensive, as they say.
Yeah.
It's way more than just basic research skills.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get too carried away with R and geospatial analysis,
Sure.
I noticed there are also modules on data management and scientific writing.
Yes.
Those don't sound quite as exciting.
They may not be as flashy,
Yeah.
but trust me, they're crucial.
All right.
Think about it. What good is incredible data if it's all disorganized?
Right.
Or a groundbreaking discovery that's hidden in a poorly written report?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
So these modules are all about making sure the research is useful and can be shared effectively.
Precisely.
Clear communication is key.
It is, in research especially. And not just writing, data visualization too.
Mm-hmm.
A well-designed graph can often communicate complex findings better than pages of text.
So they're really covering everything here.
It seems that way.
It's like they're prepping students for success, not just in academia, but any field where research skills matter.
Absolutely.
And that brings up an interesting question for our listeners.
What's that?
What are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What questions keep you up at night? Because those are the seeds of potential research projects.
That's true.
So think about a problem you'd love to tackle.
Mm.
Maybe it's related to your work, your community, or just something you're curious about.
Right.
What tools from this program would help you explore that further?
It's a good question to consider.
Yeah.
It is. It's kind of fascinating how they don't shy away from the tougher stuff.
Yeah.
Like machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
They're really getting these students ready for like cutting edge research.
Yeah, machine learning is like everywhere now.
It really is.
To be honest, I don't even know if I totally get it.
Right.
Is it as complicated as it sounds?
It can be, but the main idea is teaching computers to learn from data,
Okay.
but without like giving them specific instructions.
So instead of programming rules,
Yeah.
we give the computer tons of data and let it find the patterns.
Exactly.
So like giving it a puzzle and letting it figure out how it all fits together.
That's a good analogy.
And the cool thing is,
Yeah.
it can handle huge data sets that would be impossible for us to analyze.
Right. It's like having this superpowered research assistant,
Wow.
sifting through mountains of data and finding hidden connections.
So it's not replacing researchers. It's more like giving them a powerful tool.
That's a great way to put it. It's
Good.
about enhancing our abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And this program seems to get that because they don't just teach how to use the tools.
Right.
They also teach how to think critically about how they're used and like the limitations.
With any powerful tool, there's always that risk of misuse.
Exactly.
You need to know not just how to use it, but when and why.
Right. And that's where the ethics part comes back in. It's
Uh-huh.
not just avoiding plagiarism or whatever. It's about using these techniques responsibly and for the good of society.
So, double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Machine learning can be amazing for good, but you got to use it ethically
Absolutely.
and thoughtfully.
Mm-hmm.
This course seems to really emphasize that responsibility.
It does. And it's really interesting how this program is like looking ahead to the future of research.
Okay.
We live in a world with like an explosion of data.
Right.
Being able to understand it is more important than ever.
So it's not just about having the data, it's about what you do with it.
Exactly. This program is preparing students for a data-driven world.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just teaching the what, but also the how and the why.
Speaking of how, let's talk about data management.
Okay.
It's not the most glamorous part,
It's not. No.
but this course has a whole module on it. Why is that?
Well, imagine this. You spend months collecting data for this amazing project,
Okay.
and then you lose it all because your hard drive crashes or your files are a mess.
Whoa, that's a nightmare.
It really is.
So how do we avoid those data disasters?
Well, the course highlights a few things.
Okay.
First, organization is key.
Hmm.
Having a clear system for naming and storing your data.
Right, so no more random files with weird names.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
A good system not only prevents losing stuff,
Okay.
it makes it so much easier to find what you need.
Mm-hmm.
The module also talks about documentation.
Documentation, like keeping a research diary.
Exactly. Tracking where your data came from, how you processed it,
Okay.
any decisions you made during analysis.
So if someone wanted to repeat your study,
Right.
they'd know exactly what you did.
Exactly. It's about transparency and being able to reproduce your findings.
Makes sense.
And then there's data security and backups.
Okay.
That's all about protecting sensitive info and
Yeah.
making sure your hard work isn't lost.
So it's being organized, but also being responsible,
Absolutely.
protecting your research.
And these are skills that are helpful outside of research, too.
Really?
Yeah. Anytime you deal with data,
Okay.
financial records, customer info, even just your personal files,
Good point.
good data management is essential.
Okay, so we've talked about collecting data,
Mm-hmm.
analyzing it, managing it.
Right.
What about sharing your findings?
That's where scientific writing comes in.
Yeah, scientific writing.
This module focuses on writing clear and compelling reports.
Okay.
It covers everything from structuring your argument
Hmm.
to presenting data in a visually appealing way.
I think a lot of people struggle with scientific writing.
I agree.
It can be so dry and full of jargon.
Right.
How does this program help with that?
Well, one of the key things they teach is audience awareness.
Okay.
You have to write for your audience,
Mhm.
whether it's other researchers, policymakers, or the public.
So no more writing like a robot for other robots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They also emphasize clarity and being concise.
But
In
wait.
scientific writing, you got to get your point across efficiently,
Right.
but without sacrificing accuracy.
Like that saying, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter.
Exactly.
It's harder to be concise.
It is, yeah.
And they also go into data visualization.
Yes,
Sometimes a good chart or graph is better than pages of text.
that's right.
So not just what you say, but how you say it.
Exactly.
Data visualization can really make your findings stand out.
It can. It's very powerful.
Okay, and then there's that last module
Yes.
about the publication process.
Right. This is where they learn about academic journals and peer review.
A lot of people have this idea that research is like you work alone, then suddenly submit your discovery and become famous.
I know, right?
I bet it's a lot more complicated.
It is. It's rarely quick or easy.
Okay.
There are revisions, feedback from reviewers, even rejections sometimes.
But it's an important part of the process.
It is. It's about quality control,
Yeah.
making sure that published research meets high standards.
So only the best and most reliable research gets out there.
That's the idea.
And this module helps students navigate that system.
Yes.
They learn how to choose the right journal, write good cover letters.
Okay.
Um,
And deal with feedback, even when it's tough.
So they're really being prepped for the whole research journey.
They are. It's impressive how they cover it all.
Yeah.
And they do it in a way that's both rigorous and engaging.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear that instructors really care about research
Yeah.
and want to help their students succeed.
As we've been talking, I've been thinking this kind of program would have been so helpful when I was starting out.
I agree.
I wish I had that guidance and mentorship.
It's one thing to read about research methods in a book.
Right.
It's totally different to actually use them in the real world
Exactly.
with support from experienced researchers.
And they cover so many topics.
It's true.
Ethics, data management, writing.
It's really comprehensive.
It's like everything you need to become a good researcher.
It is, and a lot of these resources are free online.
Oh, really?
Even if you're not in a formal program,
Okay.
you can still learn and improve your research skills.
That's amazing.
There are online courses, tutorials, communities.
Wow.
No matter what your background is, you can explore research.
That's so cool.
It really is, and one of the best things about research is the discovery.
Yeah.
Asking questions, finding answers, uncovering new knowledge.
Pushing the boundaries of what we know.
Exactly.
Contributing to something bigger than yourself.
It's a journey anyone can take.
Yeah. So if you're feeling inspired, take that first step. Pick a topic you love.
Right.
Do some research and see where it goes.
You might surprise yourself.
You don't have to be an expert to do meaningful research.
That's true. What matters is curiosity, a willingness to learn,
Yeah.
and a commitment to good methods.
Well said. Okay, let's recap.
Sure.
We've talked about research skills, the research process,
Mhm.
the different tools and techniques.
We also talked about communication,
Yeah.
lifelong learning, and being responsible with powerful tools.
I want to leave you with one last thought.
Okay.
As you go about your day, pay attention to the information you see.
Mm-hmm.
Question things. Look for evidence.
Right.
Don't be afraid to challenge what you think you know.
Good advice.
Because being a good researcher means being an active and engaged person.
It's about using what you know to make a difference.
In your life, your work, or the world.
Well said.
That's a great way to wrap up
Yeah.
this deep dive into research.
That was a good one.
We hope you've learned something.
I've been inspired.
Keep exploring
Yeah.
and never stop asking questions.
There's always more to learn.
This course description covers so much, it's amazing.
It really does.
It's like a map of the whole research world,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows how interdisciplinary everything's becoming.
It's true. You don't just see statistics anymore.
Right.
It's stats plus programming, geospatial analysis, machine learning,
Wow.
and of course, doing it all ethically.
It makes sense, though.
Yeah,
The world's more complex, so the problems we need to solve are more complex, too.
exactly. You need solutions that draw from different fields.
Like climate change, for example.
Perfect example.
You can't understand that just from science.
Right.
You need economics, social stuff,
Mm-hmm.
politics, too.
It's all connected.
So researchers need to talk to people from all these different backgrounds.
Absolutely. And this program seems to get that.
Yeah.
By exposing students to so many methods and tools,
Mm-hmm.
it encourages them to think broadly, to see the connections.
Like building bridges between different areas of knowledge.
Exactly. And that kind of thinking is essential now
Yeah.
for the big problems we face.
Pandemics, energy, inequality.
You need researchers who can think critically, work together, and communicate well.
And keep learning as new stuff comes out.
Absolutely. Research is always changing.
So you got to be a lifelong learner.
Always looking for new knowledge and skills.
Like a never-ending quest.
It is. And that's what makes research so exciting.
Always something new to discover.
Exactly.
Before we wrap up,
Yeah.
can we go back to data management for a minute?
Sure.
I think that's where a lot of people struggle.
Even experienced researchers.
What are some easy things our listeners can do to improve?
Well, start with good file names.
Like, what do you mean?
Use descriptive names, keywords, dates, versions.
So not just data.xlsx.
Right. Something more like customer survey results 2023-02031.xlsx.
Much clear.
And use folders to organize everything.
Okay.
Different projects, different types of data, different stages of analysis.
Makes it easy to find stuff.
And you can see how your project progressed.
Like a map of your data.
Exactly.
You mentioned documentation too.
Oh, it's so important.
What should people be doing?
Be detailed and consistent.
Okay.
Track your sources, any cleaning or processing you do, the software, the settings, any choices you made.
So anyone can understand your work.
Yes, it's all about transparency.
And of course, backups.
Oh, never forget backups.
Multiple copies in different places.
Hard drive, cloud, even a USB drive.
Can't be too safe.
Nope.
Well, I think we've covered a lot today.
We have.
The skills you need for research, the ethics, even data management tips.
And how anyone can do research.
So to our listeners,
Yes.
embrace your curiosity.
Ask questions, find answers.
And never stop learning.
The more we understand,
The better we can solve problems.
make good decisions.
And create a better world.
Research isn't just about knowledge.
It's about sharing it and making a difference.
Well said.
What a great way to end this deep dive.
It was a good one.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
And keep exploring.
There's always more to discover.